Are you thinking about signing your child up for tackle football? Consider this. Based on scientific research for children under the age of 14, tackle football is not considered an age-appropriate sport due to the potential for long-term damage to the child's developing brain. American football has existed for 150 years. Youth tackle football is common today, but originally the youngest players were 15 years old. 50 years ago, things changed. Football programs lowered the minimum age and weight criteria and eventually went as low as 5 years old and as light as 35 pounds. By 1970, there were several thousand youth tackle football teams across the country. Players from that era are now dying, and their families are donating their brains to be studied, due to concerns that their repetitive head impacts from playing football affected their loved one's brain. Why the concern? CTE, or chronic traumatic encephalopathy. CTE is a progressive degenerative brain disease caused by traumatic brain injuries, such as concussions, as well as subconcussive head impacts, which are repeated hits to the head that don't cause symptoms. CTE has been found in athletes who participated in high-impact and collision sports, such as hockey, soccer, and boxing. However, roughly 2/3 of diagnosed CTE cases worldwide are American football players. Right now, CTE can only be diagnosed after death. Every person diagnosed has one thing in common: a history of repetitive hits to the head. CTE starts as small lesions around blood vessels in the brain, and progresses even after affected football players stop playing tackle football. As players age, the disease spreads and attacks essential parts of the brain. Symptoms generally begin appearing years after the onset of head impacts. What are the symptoms? Common mood and behavioral changes related to CTE include impulse control problems, aggression, mood swings, depression, paranoia, and anxiety. Eventually, people with CTE can experience cognitive problems, including short-term memory loss, confusion, impaired judgment, and dementia. Why are children under the age of 14 at such risk for developing CTE? Because a child's body and brain are not designed for tackle football. One reason is brain development. The brain goes through significant changes between the ages of 8 to 13, as it physically changes from the brain of a child to that of an adolescent. Hundreds of repetitive head impacts have the potential to change the course of a child's emotional and cognitive development. Another reason is the bobblehead effect. Children have larger heads relative to the rest of their body than adults do. A 5-year-old's head-to-body ratio is equivalent to that of an adult with a head 4 times larger than normal, whereas a 14-year-old's head-to-body ratio is similar to that of an adult. To put that into perspective, a child wearing their 4-pound football helmet is equivalent to a high school player wearing a 15-pound helmet. Children also have thinner and weaker necks, which allow impacts to cause more rapid head movement. When these elements are combined, children are unable to slow down their disproportionately large, heavy heads after they've been impacted, thus creating the bobblehead effect during impact. The age a child starts playing tackle football is another important factor. Based on scientific research, the younger an athlete begins to play tackle football, the greater the risk of developing CTE. A 2019 study led by Boston University researchers analyzed 266 deceased football players, 223 of whom had CTE. The researchers found that the risk of developing CTE increases by 30% for every year tackle football is played. So let's say that if you took 2 players who played 4 years of high school football, and one started playing tackle football at age 5 and the other one at age 14, according to the research, the player who started earlier has 10 times the risk of developing CTE. In a 2021 published study funded by the Centers for Disease Control of football players ages 6 to 14 years old using mouthguard sensors, it was determined that youth tackle football players experienced a median of 378 head impacts per athlete in a single football season, while flag football players only experienced a median of 8 head impacts. That comes out to 15 times the hits per day throughout the season. Based on the hidden dangers of developing CTE from playing tackle football, it is recommended to hold your child out of tackle football until they're at least 14 years old. In the meantime, non-contact or flag football is considered a safer alternative. Tackle football can wait.